Morning, everybody. How y'all doing? In these drum practice streams, I like to share things that I'm working on, how I'm working on them. Today, I'm going to be working on a shopping spree that I wrote recently on Sunday. It's called 345-543 Shopping Spree, and you can actually find that on my home tab of YouTube. But speaking of YouTube, in this playlist, the drum practice streams, you can find every one of these practice streams. I keep all of them up. And if you click on one of them, there are timestamps in the description that allow you to see like what I'm working on, how I'm practicing things, or sometimes what questions that I'm answering, etc. So you can check out any of the prior stuff, see how I progressed or not, as well as some of the questions that I've answered. Now, if you want to see an edited version of the questions that I answer, where I take out the pauses where I'm thinking and whatnot, go to this playlist, the Drumming Tips playlist. There's like 9 hours of content in here, I think. This one that says Members First is scheduled to release. All of the videos that say, I can't speak, that say Members First are scheduled to release publicly. This one comes out on Friday, and a new one comes out Friday. But there's 63 of them. So lots of content. If you want to find all this stuff organized on YouTube, just go to my home tab, and then it's got literally thousands of free play-alongs, all the gaming stuff, all the computer science stuff organized. Just click on the header, and boom, it takes you right there. But if you go to the link /drum on my website, this is the best way to see all the 55 chop exercises organized here, all of the like almost 900 grid variations organized there. There's triplet and 16th, all the drum charts, all the marching bass stuff, all the technique stuff, and then those playlists that I was just mentioning, the drum tips and the full VOD of these practice streams. Now, if you're curious what sticks and pads I'm using, just go here. These are affiliate links, most of them, for Amazon. So if you use them, I get about 4%-ish back from Amazon. So if you're going to buy like a large television that costs $1 billion, you can support me by clicking on one of those links first. Anyways, we're going to get motivated with some Shia LaBeouf. But I'm going to hide the screen because of copyright. But I'm going to imitate him because it just gets me in the streaming mindset, you know, as one would do. Here we go, Shia. You and me. Do it. Just do it. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it. Make your dreams come true. Just do it. Some people dream success. Well, you're going to wake up and work hard at it. Nothing is impossible. You should get to the point where anyone else would quit, and you're not going to stop there. No, what are you waiting for? Do it. I don't know what he's grabbing. Just do it. Yes, you can. Just do it. If you're tired of starting over, stop giving up. Ah, yeah. Thank you, Shia LaBeouf. I'm super motivated. I can't speak. It's going to be one of those mornings, apparently. Can't speak at all. Sometimes my brain just does not compute. Let's see here. Yeah, okay, so at the start of these practice streams, I also like to share like just a quote that resonates with me. Let me make it so I can actually see it. It's cut off. Come on, YouTube. There we go. Okay, so the quote is, "Are there people living rent-free in my mind? Is it useful to have my mental space taken up by others?" So I don't know about you, but I have a tendency to ruminate over things. So sometimes if somebody has like wronged me in the past, I will continue to think about the things that they did. And that just causes me to focus on things that I can't change. The thing that I need to focus on is like how I respond in the moment or after the fact, not the fact that somebody hurt me or tried to hurt me in the past or tried to wrong me or whatever. So if you are ruminating about things that people have done to you, that's taking away time from like your loved ones. Like if I'm thinking about how somebody said something mean to me in the past, that's time spent away from thinking about what I could be doing, hanging out with my wife or spending time with my dog or etc. So I highly recommend taking time to kind of reflect on moments where you might be ruminating on other people who are taking up space in your mind and think about, is there something more productive that I could do that make me feel better in this moment or make me feel better in the future if I continue to do this and make it become a habit, etc. Anyways, quick little quote. Hopefully it helps you out. We're going to warm up. We're going to warm up with an exercise It's more like a drumming practice tool. It's called Fast, Slow, Fast. There's also the opposite version, which is Slow, Fast, Slow. Inside of this playlist, there are a few different versions. One is just quarter notes. Then we got eighth, triplets, and 16th notes. When you click on this, like the triplet one, it's going to play triplets over and over and over. And it's going to start the triplets at whatever BPM you want. In this case, I want to start at 140. And then it's going to slow it all the way down to 40 beats a minute. And then it's going to go all the way back to 140. And it does this 1 BPM at a time. And it's a great way to work on a rudiment. So, for example, yesterday, my chutichuhs were just kind of meh, so I'm going to play chutichuhs. So it's going slower, 1 click at a time, every 4 counts. And we're going to use this to warm up the hands. It's a great way to refine your technique. Or a rudiment, or whatever. Slow, fast, slow is the opposite of this, where it starts at 40, it goes to the tempo that you want it to, and then it slows it back down to 40. This one starts at your starting tempo, it goes to 40, it holds it there for 4 measures, and then it goes back up to your starting tempo. These starting tempos can be as slow as 60 beats a minute or as fast as 240. Hence why it's like 6.5 hour long video. Ew. Unsub. The flam right before the cheese is flat. Trying to fix it. Highly recommend this as a warm-up or to refine a rudiment or whatever. And again, there's quarter note, eighth note, and 16th note versions in addition to this triplet one. Almost lost my stick. So once it gets to 40, it's going to hold it for 4 measures instead of 1 measure. And then it'll start going up 1 click at a time after a measure of playing it. So 4 counts. Left off a grace note. I'm so sorry. And now we go faster by 1 click. Yeah, so shoddy, slow hand speed is improved by refining stuff slow. So this exercise or slow, fast, slow are great ways to work on your speed as you pick the high point of the tempo. So I picked 140 for this. This little warm up. But the it always goes down to 40. Now, if you watch yesterday's stream, I was playing a new shopping spree starting at 40, and I just went 1 BPM at a time up. So it's a bit of a paradox, but the way you get faster is by practicing slower and really refining the technique. What are the mechanics doing of your fingers? What's the contact of the stick on your fingertips? What's the feeling of the weight across your hand as you're holding it? How's your wrist moving, or is it not? How are your fingers moving, or are they not? Do you have a little bit of forearm motion? I.e. like molar technique. All of these little things and more are things to focus on when you're going slow, and that's how I've been able to play fast. So I've taught literally thousands of students over the past 21 years of teaching, and they're usually like, oh, you're just born that way, or oh, you're just able to play fast because you have like a gift for it. No, I was terrible. The reason why I was able to play fast is because I refined stuff slow. So spend like 50% of your time working on technique stuff, 30 to 40% of your time working on like grid variations, and then like 10 to 20% of your time playing fast, like chop stuff. The last few minutes of these practice streams, I play stuff fast, but like the majority of it is slow. Okay, so I'm glad to hear that you're working on stuff slow. What I'd recommend is record yourself and then slow it down so you can really see the motion of the hands and figure out what's working, what's not, and compare it to the world-class groups you want to audition for and go, what is similar and different with my technique? What do I need to change? When you watch the recording, watch it on a mute. How does it look? Watch it at 2 times speed. What kind of body motions are you doing? Are you doing weird stuff like this that you wouldn't have noticed when watching it slow motion? Put it on so you just hear it, but you don't actually see it. So you can listen to just your playing. Isolate out your senses and do that. Hey, thank you for the sub. after like a month of doing that, you'll learn a lot. Also, trying to figure out like, how much time am I spending on this? What am I allocating in my practice time? Like, am I refining basics for 50% of the time? Or am I just working on like show excerpts? Break it down minute by minute and just get really focused and intentional with your playing and your improvement. And then come back here with like more questions like you're doing, and I can try and point you in the right direction for like more exercises to work on, specific problems. Also, on my home tab are playlists. The drumming tips playlist. That can help you out. Whoo-wee! That's a fun warm-up. We're going to stretch and massage now. So what I was saying is, like on here, if you go all the way down to the very bottom, this playlist right here has got a ton of tips, like how I work on rudiments or how I work on whatever. And when you click on it, it's got like the title is the very first thing I talk about, but then it goes into other stuff. So the timestamps in the description of these gives you like more tips on how to work on tenors or how to work on traditional grip or whatever. But yeah, hopefully I was able to make sense while attempting to play chutichuhs, cheese chutichuhs, while doing that. Anyways, let's stretch and massage. Another question: how do I know when to stop practicing and knowing when I practiced a particular? That's a great question. So for those of you who aren't on the vertical feed on YouTube, asking about like when to stop practicing when you've practiced something enough. That point of saturation is ill-defined, if we were to use research terms. We're going to stretch the underside of the forearm. So I ran into the same thing when I was doing research or when I was supervising a doc student on his dissertation. He also ran into the same issues. Like, at what point have I read enough like research to say, I've surveyed the field on this topic, here are the findings of it, and here's how I'm contributing in a unique way? We're not going to stretch here. You'll never really know. It's experimentation. It's just like constant, going back to the rudimental side of things, it's just constant iteration and practice over an extended period of time to figure out what works for you. In terms of like stop practicing, it depends on what you're doing. So like, one of the ways that I like to practice is I will sequence in the most important thing first. I'll front load those, and then I'll save like the fun stuff that requires less brain power for the end. So this is when I would do like several hours of practicing a day. I would focus at the beginning on, here are the things that I'm like really bad at that I need to work on to improve for my lesson on marimba or whatever. And then get into, okay, here are some of the basic stuff that I need to work on just to like improve my technique specifically, like work on, I don't know, like isolated one-handed rolls or something on marimba. And then it's like, okay, now I'm getting towards the end of the practice session and my brain is a little bit like, just like, whoa, I'm pretty out of it. I've been going for like a few hours straight. At the end, it'd just be like, all right, what's something fun that I can play to continue to improve or work on my endurance or work on my chops, etc. That doesn't necessarily require brain power. So like playing like triplet diddle at like 200 plus beats a minute just for funsies, as opposed to sitting there and refining it and like, let's really go work through every one of the strokes, etc. So if you sequence your practice schedule for the most important things that you need to refine to improve, then like, let's say you get a phone call midway through, you're not going to be like, oh, I have to leave now. I didn't get to that most important thing that I need to work on, like my grace note spacing or height or whatever it is. But also, it just takes into account that your level of focus and attention diminishes over time. But one of the things that you can do to help with that is to actually take frequent breaks. So one of the things that I do is a 50-10 split. So I'll work 50 minutes, 50 minutes straight on something, and then I'll take a 10-minute break where I'll go like walk on the treadmill or move or stretch or meditate or whatever. And then I come back to what I'm working on. So same thing with your playing. So you could take a 10-minute stretch break, or you could just go take a walk, get a water break, go outside, touch grass, etc., and then come back and continue to work on it. That can actually extend your practice sessions to make it so that you can go longer because you're not doing several hours straight of the same thing over and over, which is what I tended to do. And by the end of the day, I was just like I was a zombie because just like mentally I was focused for too long. But hand-wise, it also can help like get rid of some of the exhaustion that comes with playing too much over an extended period of time. But a good sign to stop playing is if like you start to experience pain. So dull pain is okay, but sharp pain is a clear like no, stay away from that. But in terms of like the mental exhaustion, when to stop playing, you'll reach a point where like you're starting to like make progress, you'll start to plateau, and then you'll just get like really, really bad over time. Like the other day I was playing through Blue Devils 2000 spree and RCC's Mori spree, and in that that stream, it was just terrible. I was making so many mental mistakes and whatnot. What I should have just done is just like, if I wanted to continue to practice, just really just slow it down and just sit there and refine what I can in that moment and accept the loss of like, I'm not going to be able to play this at like 120 or whatever I was trying to do in that particular stream. So every day is going to be different. But if you front load like the most important thing at the start of it, then you can at least make progress on the things that's going to help you in the long term with that. But in terms of like the muscle grouping, I would argue that practicing and focusing on the muscles isn't necessarily as important as practicing and focusing on the mental side of things. Most of my mistakes are mental. Like when I was playing the chutichuhs, like warming up, like talking while playing these really messes me up. If your brain is thinking about something other than what you're playing in the moment, that's also going to mess you up. Like I've told the story where like I was in the lot and there was this a bass drummer who was like kept screwing up. And one of the techs that worked for me like went up to that drumline's instructor and was like, hey, that bassist messing up is chewing their gum. And so the instructor's like, hey, can you go spit that out? And then they stopped screwing up. It's just like, it sounds silly, but like the brain was having one less thing to process. And then they were able to focus more on their playing rather than like moving their mouth and whatnot. So the more that you can focus on the mental side of things, that's where you get the consistency and that's where you get better over time. But again, with the hand issue, my playing, the reason why I'm able to play faster is because I work on stuff slow and really refine my technique and not like sat there and focus on like I know somebody who uses like hammers to improve their strength of their fingers and whatnot, and they tore their tendons, so don't do that. But most of my playing, the reason why I'm able to play fast when I play fast is because I practice it slow. It has nothing to do with like sitting there and isolating out the muscles and working on that. It's just refining the basics using a fast technique slow. So what I mean by that is like if you're going to play, like you mentioned, stick control. So if you're playing stick control and you play it like this with all downstrokes, this is not going to end up going well for you when you get faster because you're going to play like that as opposed to playing this fluid technique. And if you slow this down, maintaining that fast technique while playing slow, so you have that continuous motion where your stick just continues to go into the ether, etc. That is what you need to focus on. So whenever I'm playing stuff like the spree that I'm going to do after I do the stretch and massage routine, I will play through it with this like floaty technique, the continuous motion technique, with light accents and whatnot while playing through this. It's because I want to play that way when I'm playing it fast, to play nice and relaxed, nice and light, etc. That was a very long-winded answer to your question, but hopefully that helps in some way, and hopefully that kind of like gives you a different perspective of looking at like your playing in terms of from a mental side of things, like how much attention do I have in this moment. There's a framework that I use that is from, it's called Asian Efficiency. That's the name of the company. But it's time, energy, attention. So thinking about those things in relationship to your practice session. So how much time do you have will impact like, what are you going to focus on? Are you going to spend 5 minutes working on this thing? Are you going to be able to spend 30 minutes working on this thing, etc.? The energy side of things, like if you are very tired and lethargic, like I was the other day when I was playing those shopping sprees, well then, okay, maybe I should just focus on something tedious as opposed to something that like, or like endurance training, etc. Like working with these heavy sticks and just like playing fast or something, as opposed to sitting there and trying to refine it. But then the attention is like, am I like squirrel, or am I like really able to focus on stuff and like record something and like look at it in like halftime speed and just like really analyze the technique, etc. Like all of those things, the time, energy, attention, work, and will have an impact on how are you going to practice, what are you going to do in your practice session, etc. Sorry, long-winded. Great question though. Anyways, I think I didn't do this one, so stretching the top side of the forearms. I love when people stop in and ask like really informed, nuanced questions like that. It's phenomenal. So thank you. Gives me an opportunity to talk about cool stuff like that. At least I think it's cool. Let's stretch the thumbs. This stretch and massage routine I also recommend for relaxing your hands. Do it daily. You're very welcome. But that like really helped my playing. I guess another thing that I could add on to this is like the importance of rest. So with rest, you really got to focus on like, am I letting the inflammation go down in my hands? Like whether it's like elevating your arms for like 10 minutes or something, or like icing your forearms, etc. Am I stretching and massaging, giving my muscles that time to recover? Because if all you do is just work, like if you're doing all days, like in drum corps, or if you're like WGI or even just marching band and you drum all day, every day, like I used to, if you don't give yourself that downtime to rest, your muscles over time will just kind of like break down in terms of like not being able to get that time to recover and repair itself. So I highly recommend focusing on the recovery side of things and looking into like exercise science or physiology, sports, like kinesiology, even sports psychology stuff is really helpful. Going back to the focus stuff, all of those things can inform and improve your own performing and playing, etc. Which performing and playing, I'd say, are like two different things. But like I have on the bookshelf behind this setup, like a bunch of books on like sports psychology and whatnot, and just like overall health, because holistically speaking, if you take care of yourself, it's going to have a profound impact on your recovery. So like the food that I eat is designed in a way to provide the proper nutrition for me to become healthier than I currently am. The amount of water that I drink throughout the day, like a couple of these, is trying to help flush my systems of things that negatively impact like my focus, etc. All of these things have a profound impact on like how physically I'm feeling, but also mentally how I'm able to focus or not. Like if I only got 4 hours of sleep versus 8 hours of sleep, or if I ate really bad food versus really good food, all these things compound over time and can have a severely positive or negative effect on your body. You never thought of that aspect of drumming? Yeah, I mean, it's complicated. This is what the pros do. So like, if you look at research, because like my PhD is in music education, so like I've read a ton of research on what it takes to develop skills and expertise in a domain, mainly around music, but also like sports in general and whatnot. So this is what like Olympic level athletes actually do to try and improve, is they really are regimented with, here's how much I practice, here's what I practice, here's when I take my hour-long nap in the middle of the day, and then I practice some more, but I do more mental imagery in the afternoon, so that way I don't get injured. Like, all these little things, like, I'll add up, in addition to, like, the nutrition, and the sleep, and, like, stress management by, like, getting massages, or doing yoga, etc. Like, they all work together to either help you, or not. Like, if you spend your day, like, your phone, like getting a diet of all the negative, horrible things going on in the world, that'll have an impact on your attention, etc., compared to if you don't read the negative internet comments, or you don't spend your time in like doom scrolling, etc. That will potentially free up your mind to have more focus, etc. So hopefully that makes sense. Hello, Jack. How you doing? Anyways, we stretched, so now we're going to massage. I'm in rant mood this morning, apparently. Rant activated. Some days I don't talk a lot. Some days I get fantastic questions like that, and I talk a lot. Ooh, my arms are tight. So today we're going to be working on 345, 543 Shopping Spree. Yesterday, when I worked on it, I got it from 40 to 54. So we're going to try and get faster today. I'll start it at 55, where we just kind of left off. And then we'll see how fast we get. Stay tuned. Itchy nose. But it's a shopping spree that I wrote inspired by the 2000 Blue Devil shopping spree, which is also available on my website. It's currently members first, which just means that it's coming out for free eventually. I've got like 150 some odd that are scheduled to release to the public, so stay tuned for more. And I'm writing more every week. Like today I wrote down like, oh, here's some like rhythmic modulation stuff that I could work on, or some 4-2-1 variations. I was like, more ideas. I've got a giant list of things I want to do. Like even some old cadences that I wrote, some lot exercises like the full ensemble score, etc. Like, we'll get to those. Yo, Matt. Hello. But yeah, let's go up here. So now that we've warmed up, stretched and massage, ranted a bit, let's go into the timestamps, and we're going to resume where we left off. Thank you for the like. Again, this one's members first, but it will come out. I promise. If you go to yesterday's stream, you can practice along to that at 40 to 54 beats a minute. 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3. And that pattern continues. And I'm going to stop talking because I don't know this one yet, even though I wrote it. Oh. Whoopsies. Read it wrong. Oops. Okay, so that's actually a perfect example. What's my name? I don't speak Spanish, but it's Jared. So the mistakes there were not physical. Like playing had absolutely nothing to do with the mistakes. I was thinking about something that I could potentially elaborate on, and then that caused me to screw up. And then I was thinking about how I could point out the fact that my mistake was because I was thinking about something else, and that caused me to screw up. And then it made me laugh because of that. And then that caused me to screw up. So it's just like this snowball effect of like mental attention span deteriorating. So now I'm going to try and focus more. We'll try this again. Again. Hey. Press the foot pedal. Whoops. Play. Look at that. When you focus more, you can play better. Weird. Weird concept. Oh, ours off pipe count. I started playing a 4 pattern instead of the 5. I know. Unsub. Jared's not allowed to make mistakes. I'm trying to relax my accents and it screwed up the diddle interpretation. Yeah, so like even on the invert parts, that like left-hand accent is too heavy, so I was trying to relax that, but it like slurred out my cheese diddle interp on the accents. Don't do that. But those little micro adjustments, like honestly, are things that you need to do when you're practicing, just to like tweak it just a little bit. Did it make it better? Did it make it worse? Did it make it the same? And then like reacting to that. ASMR. We resume faster. yeah, 61. Too fast. Popping sound when I do that. Couldn't tell if it was the floor or my ankle. Hopefully not my ankle. Let me actually do that again. The foot drags. Right hand diddles felt weird. Yeah, it's like that came in slightly late. Let's do it again. It was better. Yeah, those left-hand accents still on the invert and even the cheese invert part, because I'm kind of like whipping it in. It's too much. It's better on those accents on the last couple lines. Progress. Small amount. No. Whatever. No. Not sure how fast we'll get today. About 7 fast, maybe. Maybe 5 or 10 more clicks. And then we'll chop out. And then we're playing Astrobot today. Great game. Fantastic game. Also having fun with Rise of Ronin. That one's also a good game. What? Apparently I pressed M when I stopped it, which mutes it. Actually, I want to elaborate on something that I mentioned earlier. So when I mentioned like trying to figure out what to practice and putting that, front loading that at the start of your practice session, the way you get that data to figure out what exactly do I need to do is by analyzing your recordings or playing faster than you currently can. So like if you can play something at 100 beats a minute, try it at 110 or 120, record yourself playing that, and figure out where was it breaking down. Was it a mental thing? Am I not able to process it fast enough? Like, am I not able to think right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, like paradiddles fast enough? Or is it like a physical thing? Was I tensing up like too much right here in the wrist? Was my fulcrum too tight? Was my wrist locking up? Whatever. Like all of those things, when you're playing something fast, for 5 to 10% of your practice session, give you that data to figure out, okay, what do I need to work on next time when I'm refining stuff? So that's what I'd recommend to figure out, like what order of operations should I go in when working on something is, okay, when I was playing something fast yesterday, I noticed that my fulcrum was tightening up. So I'm going to practice it slow at the start of this practice session and really focus on relaxing my fulcrum or whatever the issue is. But, excuse me, I'm burping. Hopefully that helps you. Anyways, let's resume. That's why I ended up working on the chutichuhs as a warm-up. I wanted to check in again with it on this practice stream. Because it was yesterday. see. So there's something else I want to elaborate on. Another thing you need to think about when practicing is that rest time often equates to progression on something. So sometimes you might be working on something for an extended period of time. Like, let's say you spend a couple of hours just working on refining your flam fives, and you feel like you're just getting diminishing returns, things don't get better. When you sleep on it, it gives your brain that time to process things and to kind of like unfold or unravel the issues. Like if you have like a ball of string and you're trying to just like untangle it, same thing happens with like things preventing progress in your own playing. So if you practice something and you feel like you're not making progress on it, sometimes you just literally need to sleep on it, and then you'll be better in the morning. Or you might need to sleep on it multiple days, gives your brain like more time to process it, keep working on it, keep refining it for like a few days or a few weeks straight, and then eventually something will just click. So like with my like double stroke rolls or like paradiddles, like it used to be like I could play it only like this fast, and like one day I woke up and I could play it like this fast, and then after more months, then I could play it faster, etc. So like there's this thing with your brain with repeated processes. You develop this thing called automaticity because of myelination, which is like a coding of the axons in terms of like going from neuron to neuron. They're all connected with each other, and it creates this like coding the sheath that basically makes it from like a single lane highway to like double wide or like a 5-lane highway. It makes it so that you can do things faster and more efficiently, more effectively, because your brain has processed it more over time. That develops around 50 hours of work on something, and that process of automaticity is key to being able to play. So like when I was playing through chutichuhs earlier, if I had tried playing like a chutichuh for the first time while talking, like good luck. My brain wouldn't be able to do that because I hadn't developed the automaticity, that axonal coding, the myelination process, to be able to just put it on autopilot. So same thing with playing. Like eventually over time, what used to be requiring all of your mental capacity, now you can like play the drum kit and rap at the same time and sing, or talk to somebody else while you're playing something that used to require like all of your mental bandwidth. So little pro tip. Anyways, let's resume. Sweet. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. We got the 70. So tomorrow I'll resume. We'll go from 70. Maybe do 100? Yeah. Should be able to do that. We'll see how it goes. How it sounds. But again, this play along is scheduled to release. If you're a member, you get early access to that and like 150 some odd other videos. So plenty of content. But I promise, they're all coming out for free. Let's chop out. Let's play something for funsies. Let's do a grid variation. We're going to do cheeses. Do I want to do a cheese after an accent or a cheese before? Or, ew. I guess that's the answer. Let's work on the one that sounded worse. Cheese after an accent. There's normal, and then there's the backwards version, 1, 2, 4 version. We're not going to start at 180, silly goose. All right, let's put it at 140. Let's see how it goes. Cheese after an accent. So the rudiment actually moves. Normally it's stationary in grid. But this variation, it's moving with the accent. And then the before one obviously goes right before it. They're both fun variations to work up. A weird one is like slam 5 before an accent. But the flam 5 after sounds like this. Cool one, right? It's good. 160. This might be my breaking point today. We'll find out. Today's episode of attempting to play things faster than I can. Itchy nose. Attempting to play things with an itchy nose. Quick, Jared Stahl, tell a story about something funny that happened on drumline. So one time at band camp, just trying to give my hands a break. Here we go. That feels like the breaking point today. It's one of those days. Now, if you're on YouTube, you can find this play along and literally over 1,000 more for free here. Home tab. Click on the header for the drumming stuff or the gaming stuff or the computer science stuff. Whatever you want to see more of, just click on the header. And then, boom, it shows you all of the drumming playlists. Again, there's literally over 1,000 free play alongs. Any of them that say members first are scheduled to release. All of the questions that people ask, and then I edit down into a refined answer, I put into this playlist, the drumming tips one. And there's timestamps in each one of these that shows like the different questions or things that I'm talking about. So check that out if you're interested in it. But the best place to go to find everything neatly organized is the link at the top of the screen, jaredoleary.com/drum. We got all 55 chop exercises, almost 900 grid variations, triplet and 16th, 55 drum charts, 166 marching bass exercises, 139 technique exercises, all the drumming tips, all of the live stream sessions, and then some other lessons and whatnot. Percussion dictionary, if you haven't been there, if you do concert percussion stuff, this might help you out. And if you want to see what sticks I'm using, they are the Hardeman hammers, but you can find them here. These are affiliate links. It helps me out when people use these links. Even if you're buying something that's not like Future Sounds by David Garibaldi, you can click on this. If it takes you to Amazon, then you could buy a television, and I get about 4% back from Amazon. Woo! So thank you for people who've used it. It does help me out. If you want to help me out for free, just share the content, like it, watch the videos, engage with it, whatever. But I'm going to call it here. I'm going to get ready for some Astrobot, which I'm really looking forward to playing. Yeah, tomorrow we'll resume speeding up 345, 543 shopping spree. But I appreciate you all. Excellent questions in the chat this morning. Really appreciate nuanced discussions around some nerdiness with drumming. So anyways, I appreciate you all, and goodbye.